She's a freak. Hi, so 2018 is over, and the music, however, lives on. So I thought what I would do today is to go through my top 10 albums of 2018 and my top 10 songs of 2018, just share them with you, tell you my opinions on them. Obviously, I know that this is just my own personalized list. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below, what your favorite albums and songs were of 2018. I love discovering new music, so maybe you have something that I've never heard, and maybe I have something that you've never heard. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Number 10 album for 2018 is by the 1975, and it's called A Brief Inquiry into Online Relationships. That is a weird title, kind of a weird album. It's very futuristic. If you haven't heard of the 1975, they've been around for a while. They're sort of like an alt-rock band. They have some of the only music that can actually make me cry. I'm not an emotional person, and I don't cry very often or very easily, but they have a song from a couple years ago called Somebody Else, which is actually the song that made me really like them. And they have a song on this album as well, which I'll talk about in a little bit, that can make me cry. It's a very interesting take on the world we live in now and how we're affected by the internet and online relationships and social media and how lonely it can be. So there are some kind of dark themes to it, but it's really cool. My number 9 album of the year is the A Star Is Born soundtrack. You knew it was going to be on here. It's so good. The movie is phenomenal. I love the first 3, and this one was just as good, if not better. And Lady Gaga's voice, Bradley Cooper's voice, they both sound amazing. And some of the songs that are on this album and in the movie are just really good quality songs. I think one of my favorite songs on the album is called Always Remember Us This Way. And that was actually written by a couple songwriters here in Nashville who write a lot of country music, and so I was really happy to see that on there. Obviously Shallow is sort of the big hit from that, but there are a lot of really good songs on that album. My number 8 album is by Greta Van Fleet, and it's called Anthem of the Peaceful Army. Greta Van Fleet is sort of a newer rock group. So my friend told me about them like back in the spring of 2018, and I listened to them and was like, holy crap, this is really good. It's sort of reminiscent of like Led Zeppelin and like Van Halen. I really love 80s rock music, 80s hair bands, and it sort of gives me the same types of feelings when I listen to their music as it does the 80s hair band music. It's just really good. A lot of it's really powerful. The lead singer's vocals are just insane. I don't know how he does it without busting a chord, but it's really cool. If you like rock music and you haven't heard of them or listened to the album, definitely check it out. My number 7 album is by Troye Sivan. It's called Bloom. I love Troy. I've loved him since like way back in the YouTube days. I think he's just really talented. I think he's just a really down-to-earth, very connected songwriter, and I really like his songwriting style and the music that he puts out. It's very interpersonal on sort of like a one-to-one relationship basis. You can really feel the emotions that he's talking about in all the songs, and it feels very specific. I think a lot of times as songwriters, when we write about relationships, it can get really broad because we want it to be we want it to appeal to the masses, and I feel like Troy does a really good job of keeping sort of like the minute, fine details of a relationship and still relating it to, or still being relatable to everyone else. And I just think he's really cool, and I love his music, and it's very vibey, and he's also a fashion icon, and I really like him, so. My number 6 album is called Everything Is Love. It's by the Carters. If you don't know who the Carters are, it's freaking Jay-Z and Beyonce. Get with it. This album was sort of a surprise. They dropped it late spring, early summer in 2018, and I just think it's really good. I think that if you know me, I'm not a huge Jay-Z fan, but I love Beyonce. But I really like Jay-Z's verses on this. I've actually become a fan of his later stuff recently because it's much more emotional and personal. But I think they just work really well together on this album. And there's a lot of really fun sort of like little Easter eggs that you can hear if you listen to the album over and over again, where you can hear little things that Beyonce says or that Jay-Z says, and it kind of gives you a deep dive into their relationship, and I think it's kind of cool. My number 5 album is by an artist called Shai, and the album's called A Dial. This is actually a friend of mine. He lives in Virginia, and I have always been a really big fan of his music. I think he's really good. I think his music is very different from anything else in hip hop. It's very vibey, it's very chill. The reason I really like this album is because it seems very powerful. It seems very empowered. I really feel like he's come into his own as an artist and is writing about how he gets power from being in charge, and I really like that because I feel the same way. And so a lot of the songs on the album I really resonate with. If you haven't, it's actually an EP, but if you haven't listened to it, definitely go check it out. I'll leave a link in the description for you to go check it out because, like I said, he's a friend of mine, a smaller artist, and we need to be doing our part to support our smaller artists. Thank you. Number 4 album is Cry Pretty by Carrie Underwood. You knew she had to be on this list. She is my all-time favorite. I think the album's really good. I don't know if I'll go as far to say that it's my favorite Carrie album. I think it's very good. I think there are a lot of really good songs on it. I just don't know if it's like my all-time favorite. Time will tell. But there's a lot of really good music. I feel like Carrie talked a lot more on this album. Like she let us in a little bit more than in previous years or previous albums. But there are a lot of, in true Carrie fashion, there are a lot of emotional songs, a lot of songs that sort of dig deep into what's happening in society right now and issues with alcoholism and gun violence. And I think it's a really solid album. I think it's an album that we needed in 2018. My number 3 album, again, you knew it had to be on here. It's Sweetener by Ariana Grande. It's just a good album. I mean, all the songs on the album are really good. There are some bops, of course. No Tears Left to Cry, God Is a Woman, Breathe In. There's a song called Better Off that I really like. One of the things that I love about Ariana is that she's not afraid to take a risk and she's not afraid to think outside the box production-wise. Pharrell produced this album and he is sort of the same way. He thinks outside of the box a lot and kind of goes into setting his own bar versus following what everyone else is doing in pop music. And I just think it's really good. There are a lot of risks that they took, and I think it paid off because it's a solid album. My number 2 album actually is another EP, but I had to include it because there isn't a day that goes by that I don't listen to it. And it's by Lennon Stella. It's called Love Me. And if you don't know who Lennon Stella is, you probably do, you just don't know it. She was on the show Nashville. She played Raina's oldest daughter. And then she and her sister, Lennon and Maisie Stella, they did some duets and did some singing, but Lennon sort of broke off on her own and now she's doing pop music. And it's so good. I ranted about it on Facebook a couple weeks ago saying that I really feel like it's gonna be the future of pop music because it's getting back to really solid lyrics, really solid production, and quality vocals. And it's really a direction that I hope pop music goes into because she's just really talented, she's really good, and you should definitely check it out if you haven't listened to it because I listen to it every day. And my number 1 album of 2018 is the one and only Kacey Musgraves, and it is Golden Hour. This album is getting a lot of critical acclaim for the right reasons. It is just really good. It's a departure from what's happening in country music right now. She went in a different direction. She took some risks. She's writing about things that are very emotional and that you can really connect to. And it's just one of those albums that you can put on and the world sort of goes on in the background and you can really focus in and connect and think about your life in relation to the songs and to the album as a whole. I love it. Her voice is sick. It's so good. And the production is really good. It's very minimalistic. And Kacey talks about how she wanted it to be kind of simple. And I appreciate that. And I think it's really the best album of 2018 in my mind. So now let's talk about my top 10 songs of 2018. My number 10 song for 2018 is actually a newer country song. I mean, it came out back in April, I think, but it's just now starting to hit the airwaves. And it's by a fairly new artist as far as to the spotlight, not necessarily new to singing, but his name is Cody Johnson. The song is called On My Way Home to You. On My Way to You, sorry. And I think one of the reasons I really like it is because it's very different than anything else that a male country singer is doing. You all know how I feel about the bro country movement in country music, and it drives me nuts. And as a songwriter and a male country artist who sings music that is very different than anything that's on the radio right now, I am really excited to start to slowly hear some music by other male artists, obviously, and other female artists, obviously, that is different from the same stuff. That's the best word I can use, that we've been hearing on the radio for the last 10 years. So I really like this song. I think it's really well written. It talks about how all the things in his life has sort of led him to this particular person, which I assume is his significant other. And there's a little part at the end of the song in a bridge that I just love. I don't know why, it's just this little riff that he does, and I just think it's so cool. So that's my number 10. Number 9 song is called Be My Mistake. It's by the 1975. It's that song I was telling you about earlier. I was sitting in a Starbucks listening to the whole album for the first time, and this song came on, and I started sobbing in the middle of a Starbucks at 1 p.m. in the afternoon. I was a sight. Like I said, I'm not emotional, I don't cry very much, but there's something about this song that just gets me. For me, I think a good songwriter and a good song is one that you can interpret in a way that is relevant to your own life, that might be different than anybody else interprets or the songwriter intended. And I really feel like that this song is sort of the epitome of that. You can apply it to whatever's happening in your life. It doesn't necessarily need to be what the song's talking about. And it just kind of wrecked me. My number 8 song is called Summer Fever. It's by Little Big Town. It's kind of underrated in the country world. It didn't get a lot of airplay. It didn't make it to the top of the charts or anything, but it should have. It's really good. It's very vibey. It's very catchy. And it makes you sort of feel the emotions of the end of summer and wanting it to stay on for a long time. And there are not a lot of songs out there that can actually, just the music and the production can make you feel something without the help of the lyrics. And I think the production of this song is really good. My number 7 song is by an artist called Colin Egan. It's called Work This Out. He is sort of a smaller artist, and I was introduced to him or his music by a friend who has a friend that is friends with him. So I think his music is really good. I particularly really like this song. It's just good quality pop music, and I think, again, we need to support our smaller artists, and so that's why I wanted to put him on this list, because I listen to it all the time. I think it's a really good song. It's in my regular mix of songs. It's just, again, kind of vibey and kind of fun, and you should definitely check that one out too. I'll leave a link to that as well in the description box below. My number 6 song is Ape Shit by the Carters, Beyonce and Jay-Z. I just really like this song. I love it when powerful people talk about their power. They don't do a lot of interviews, and they don't talk about their power a lot, but they will definitely talk about it in songs. And I think Ape Shit is it's a song where we really get a glimpse into how they're feeling when they're on stage and how their career sort of plays out in their mind. And it's just cool. It's fun, and you can kind of rock out to it. Number 5 song is Love Wins by Carrie Underwood. Again, I think her album was what we needed in 2018. I also think this song is a song that we needed in 2018 with all the stuff that's going on in the world. It doesn't matter what side you take or what your views on whatever are. At the end of the day, love is the common thread that runs through all of us, and it will prevail over time. And Carrie's vocals are insane in this. She performed it live on the CMAs, pregnant, 800 months pregnant, and never missed a beat. And I can't even sit here right now and breathe normally, much less have a child inside of me and belt the notes that she does. She's a freak. Number 4 is the most underrated country song of 2018, and that is Diane by Cam. It did not receive the accolades that it should have. it did not do what it should have done on the charts. It is a really solid song. It's very well written. It's very well produced. The harmonies are sick. It is a throwback sort of to Jolene, and it's just a good song, and it grinds my gears that it didn't get as much attention that it deserved. But alas, we will still move on and fight the good fight to try and get good music on country radio. My number 3 song for 2018 was not a single that was released on radio, but I think some radio stations have been playing it. It's called High Horse by Kacey Musgraves. It's on that album, Golden Hour. This song is really cool. It's sort of the standout song on the album. It has sort of like a 70s, sort of like slow disco vibe to it. And I just really like, it's very creatively written. I like how they took the themes of like being on a high horse and, you know, get on your horse and ride out of town type of like message. And there are a lot of really good remixes out there that are a lot of fun, so check them out. My number 2 song is Thank You Next by Ariana Grande. Of course, it had to be on the list. I think one of the reasons that we all love this song is because not a lot of our pop singers or our pop stars let us into their life as much as Ariana does. I mean, a lot of times pop singers are just singing about whatever, but Ariana continuously gets personal and gets serious in her pop music. And this one, she even names names. And I think that's why we all love her. And obviously her vocals are sick. But Thank You Next is just a fun song, and it had to be on the list. And my number 1 song from 2018 is by Lennon Stella. It's called Fortress. Again, if you have not heard of her, go check her out. Her music is insane. It's so good. I listen to this song every single day. I can't even tell you what it is about the song that I love. I just love it all. I love the voice, I love the lyrics, I love the production, I love the way it makes me feel, and I will not go a day without listening to it. So there you go. That was my top 10 albums and top 10 songs for 2018. Again, let me know in the comments below what your favorites were from 2018, and I'll see you next time. Hey, how are ya? You just made it to the end of one of my videos. Congratulations, what an accomplishment. Look at you, getting a talent. So to celebrate, you should subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. You should maybe share with a friend, I don't know. If you like what you see, you can share with a friend, that'd be cool. You could also click the bell notification so that you get updated every time I upload a video. I do upload Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, but you never know what time it's gonna be. You should also click the thumbs up button on this video so that I know that you like it. You can click the thumbs down button, but I'll hate you forever. My social medias are popping. I got Facebook, I got Twitter, I got Instagram, I got Snapchat, I got herpes. Just kidding. I don't have herpes anymore. Just kidding. We'll see. Anyways, go to my social media, join the fam, have fun. We're gonna make this stream happen together. I love you. Bye.